actually have some really exciting news about the Nissan Juke. For the first time, I mean, as far as I'm aware, we've made about 380 wheel horsepower just with a bolt-on turbo and some other bolt-on parts. Stock motor, stock internals. If you figure, you know, between 16 and 17% for a driveline loss, you're somewhere around 450, 440 crank horsepower on a 1.6 liter with just, like I said, some bolt-ons and a turbo upgrade. So in this episode, we're going to kind of go over how you can do that, how you can achieve that yourself, what you need to do to accomplish that goal. And hopefully, you know, we'll be seeing more of these Jukes out there making more power than us. I mean, I think, you know, with the turbo that we chose, I think we can hit 400. It's a customer's car. I really don't want to go above what we ran. You know, we're somewhere like 377, 384 at the wheels is where we are right now, and I think that's good. But there's no reason why that same setup can't see 400 wheel horsepower. So I'm going to kind of go over what we did, and hope you guys kind of duplicate that so you can also have, who knows, maybe the world's fastest Juke. Thanks. So the biggest change that you're going to make to reach that goal, to get, you know, around 450 crank, is going to be the turbo. And the turbo that we chose is the G Series, the Garrett, the 660. It's got a T25 foot on it with a V-band hot side. And to get to that 384, we're only running 21, 22 pounds of boost. So I know there's at least another 3 or 4 safely left in the turbo. Okay, so what do you need to kind of reach that number safely, right? First thing, obviously, you're gonna need a front mount intercooler. The bigger the intercooler, the better, obviously, because typically every 10 degrees of intake charge temperature drop is going to be equivalent to about 1 octane point, essentially. So the more you can cool your intake charge, the safer the motor is, the more power it's going to make. So we have our big front mount, which includes the stainless crash bar. We made some custom piping for the hot side and then for the cold side. And then to make sure that you have enough range with your MAF, what we did was we bumped up our intake to a 3-inch MAF section here. That just extends the voltage, right? So when we were at 22 PSI, I think our voltage was like 4.4 volts, so we still had some more headroom in the MAF. But that's the factory MAF. We've got dual catch cans, or catch can kits are on there, both on the PCV and the crankcase side. And then in the back, which you can see is the G Series, the Garrett 660. Now what you can't see is, which we'll show you, is the manifold that we built and the downpipe. And then we did the 340 pump in the canister. And besides the blow-off valve, that's really pretty much about it. The Nismo Juke came out in 2013. The RS came out in 2014. The RS had 215 horsepower, where the regular Juke's like 188. The chassis weighs about 2950 or something like that. CVTs are heavier. But if you want to see those numbers, if you want something over 300 horsepower, you're going to have to get the manual transmission Juke. The CVT just can't handle it. Anything over typically 240 wheel, and the stock CVT is just at the edge of its capacity at that point. Okay, so like I said, the CVT's about 240 wheel horsepower, and they're kind of done at that point. So there really isn't much of a point to upgrade the turbo itself. I mean, you could run a Mamba and it helps with the spool up, helps control the power up top, but just limit that power to keep it under, like I said, 240 with the CVT. But with a manual transmission, especially a Nismo RS, I mean, the sky's the limit. Like I said, the motor inside this Juke is amazing. It has a girdle, has nice big rods, has nice thick ring lands, and we've done, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 pulls on this Juke, and it's amazing. It's amazing how well they hold up. The other cool thing we did, which I'll show you really quick, it's kind of one of my favorite things, is we did a side exit on this customer's car, and because basically the exhaust is just straight through, you'll hear it when it's running on the dyno. You can hear the turbo spooling, you hear all the crackles, all the pops, everything, and it's kind of impressive to have a little SUV like this that just sounds you know, completely amazing, vicious. So the other thing you have to worry about is once you start running above maybe 320 horsepower, and the stock clutch is going to start to fail. It just starts slipping at that point. So on this one, we changed the flywheel, Clutch Master's flywheel, and it's running a stage 4, which is a 6-puck clutch, which is actually really super easy to modulate on the street. Doesn't chatter. It's not like a really quick engagement point. It's real easy to drive. So don't be afraid to get the 6-puck if you're going to be making big numbers on your Juke. And lastly, which I think is one of the most important things, is the boost controller. The factory solenoid is a little bit wonky, and maybe it has to do with tuning it with up rev, getting the boost controller or the factory solenoid to hit your target boost numbers. It's not always perfect. It kind of varies a little bit, right? So we delete that and we run the Go Fast Bits electronic boost controller, and using that solenoid that comes in the Go Fast Bits box, you can hit your target number every time. We have another video that kind of talks about setting it up, setting your target boost numbers in the duty cycle and the solenoid. So you can go ahead and check that out if you like as well too. And of course a good tune. And that's really all you need on a stock motor Juke to make, like I said, 440, 450 crank horsepower, which in a 2,900 pound car it's amazing. It's really, really cool. So thanks guys, I appreciate you watching, and we look forward to hearing from you and seeing your comments below.